I just realized this morning that we get live football this week.
Hall of Fame game.
Hall of Fame game's Thursday.
Caleb Williams, I don't think. I mean, he said that he doesn't think he's going to play in it.
It seems like that's going to be the case. And actually, coming up a little bit later, I have some audio from his backup. I wanted to know if you think he's awesome or if you think he's a total douche. It's going to be one of the two. But we're asking you for the poll question today. Starting this week, we'll get 26 straight weeks of live football on our televisions. What are you most excited for over that 6-month stretch? Is it the new college football playoff? Is it new college football conferences? Is it a fresh NFL season? Or is it the new NFL kickoff rules, a.k.a. I don't care?
I am intrigued by what the kickoffs have to offer. I told you, this is how stupid I am. I read like an hour-long article about the new kickoff rule. Like someone went and watched every kickoff from the XFL and the UFL and like charted it. I mean, it was a really in-depth article. And
I said like 700 kickoffs or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
and I was reading this thing and I was like, what am I doing? Like, why? I also think that the first time we get someone that has a big return, someone's just going to kick it into the back of the end zone and be like, take the ball at the 30. Now it's at the 25.
That's the thing.
It's
NFL
5
coaches
yards.
are the most risk-averse individuals out there. So if you can't get it exactly right with your coverage unit, dudes are just going to start booting it again.
Yeah, well, like I looked at all these different charts, and most of the time you had people that had starting position of about the 27, yard line, between 27 and 28 yard line. That was usually where, and they broke it down by types of kicks: squib kick, deep kick, coffin corner kick, kick into the left, middle, right, one returner, two returner. I mean, it's a really, really in-depth article. I can't remember where I saw this. It was on Twitter, but I don't remember where the guy had actually written it. But I was thinking to myself, because there are people who are like, oh man, this is going to be so much fun, and there's going to be all these like crazy things, and running backs or receivers going to be back there returning, and all I keep thinking about is, if the average kick in almost all of these situations ends up on the 27 or 28 yard line,
then we're in no different spot than we were before, right?
And the touchbacks now go to the 25, or did, when we made this rule change. The first time a team just thinks their coverage is leaky, I'm turning to my guy and being like, dude, you kick that effing thing into the back of the end zone and we'll take it at the 30. Because at that point, you're sacrificing, on average, 2 yards. 2.5 yards. So I'm not certain that that's going to be it's going to be weird. Like the first time we watch this weekend and we see it, we're going to be like, oh my God, that's strange. I'm just not certain it's going to have the impact that everyone thinks it's going to have. I think maybe we're a bit over our skis. To me, it's the college football playoff. Like the NFL every year is fantastic.
Yeah.
Dude, I am so nerdy. Dude, I'm sitting there and I'm reading about, different training camps. I'm going through depth charts. I'm listening to podcasts. I just love the NFL. I get excited about it. But the NFL's there every year. But the fact that we have a new expanded playoff in college football, that one for me is and maybe down the road it won't matter as much. We'll get used to it and then be like, oh, it's just like the NFL playoffs. And the NFL is far superior to college football. It's not even close. Just the quality of play, the depth of the teams. The NFL is just such a superior product, especially now that you've taken away a lot of the amateurism, which is kind of what people loved about college football.
Right.
That's dead and gone. It's just NFL light, and it's an inferior product. But the expansion of the playoffs this year, and knowing that 1 or 2 games doesn't eliminate you, and that you're going to have to win, more than 2 games to win a national title, at least for the short term, that one has me pretty juicy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that, and all the different conferences and the matchups. I just think there's a lot of good buzz for all the people crapping on college football right now because of NIL and the lawsuits and the House settlement and all this crap. At the end of the day, here in another couple of weeks, we're going to kick off. We're going to have kick-ass games, bigger games, more games than ever. And at the end of the year, we get something that we've all been clamoring for 100 years, and that's a college football playoff.
I'm super excited about it. That would be the number one for me too, and it's not really even close. I am excited to see what Oregon in the Big Ten looks like. I'm obviously, like many, disappointed about the erosion of the Pac-12, but as an Oregon alum, I'm turning the page and seeing like, what's up next? What are we? And that's great, but the playoff is it. And because I think now college football is going to most closely reflect the way to determine the fairest way of determining the champion. Sure. Because it's like you're getting in the tournament with the NFL. It's not the exact same number of teams or whatever, but I just love that whether you have a hiccup early in the season or you're just peaking late and at the right time, I like that the team that's playing best for a month stretch at the end is probably going to be the one to hoist the trophy.
Yes, because I don't like. Sorry, my mic stand here is all kinds of funky. Um, I don't like that the way college football has been in the past is you have to be the best team for 14
You have
weeks.
to be flawless.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, Major League Baseball, nothing's like that. It's like when the Braves the best regular season team. Cool, great. Can you win in the playoffs?
Right.
No, you can't. So thanks for coming. Get out of here. I remember a couple of those years that like the Stanford teams. At the end of the year, no one wanted to play those
No.
Stanford teams. Um, Last year with Florida State, and it sucked that Florida State got bumped. But with the injuries and only 4 teams,
Hmm.
Florida State wasn't one of the best 4 teams. And now under this new system,
They get
I
a
don't.
chance to prove
They
it.
get a chance to prove it. So and I like that you can have some hiccups early on in the year, and then as your team grows and develops, you got a freshman quarterback, and by the time we get to week 8, that's a different quarterback than we saw in week 1. I just want to find out who's the best team at the end of the year. And it's the best way to do it. And we're finally going to get that opportunity. And I think it's taking, for all the stuff that's wrong with college football, we're getting a lot of things that are right with college football. And this is the true way to do it, because it's so ridiculous the way we used to do it in the past. There's no other level of football that does it that way.
Right.
None.
Well, I mean, think about it in the NFL. If the Chiefs lose 3 games in a row at the end of November, end of October, early November,
Yeah.
you're saying they don't get a shot to try and win the Super Bowl at the end of the season? And
Yeah.
I know that college football has been a different beast for so long, but like you said, as we've lost some of the amateurism in it, I think it's more appropriate that it more reflects a professional model of, no, this really is the best team. It's not just who either set up their schedule right or who didn't have a hiccup. It's who's playing the best
And
the last month of the
and I
season.
don't know if we'll ever get a Cinderella. I don't know if that can exist with the talent gap that exists in college football. In fact, I think it's probably harder than ever to get Cinderella. Like TCU was the closest thing we got to a Cinderella, and,
Right.
and, and TCU got bludgeoned to
Hmm.
death by Georgia. Now you're going to ask TCU to win, 3 or 4 of those
Did
games.
Cincinnati make a playoff too?
Cincinnati made a playoff,
And they got
they got
blasted,
bludgeoned.
but obviously TCU made the championship game.
Yeah, right. And so I think it's harder than ever for that. But maybe we at least give you a shot. Central Florida a couple years ago, they're going to get drilled by one of those teams.
Yeah.
But maybe they get a Boise State moment. Boise State, the year they beat Oklahoma.
Hmm.
Dude, that's a kick-ass moment.
And let's see if beating Oklahoma springboards them into being able to do it again, or let's find out if they can't. But at least we're going to get to see.
Yes. So to me, for all the fault to be laid at the feet of college football, and believe me, there is a ton. And for Oregon State fan, for Washington State fan, there's just no one's going to say anything that's going to make you feel better. You got screwed. But let's also be fair and say that those teams weren't teams that were really ever going to compete for a championship and have never really done it, with the exception maybe OSU the one year.
Yeah.
And under that system that we have now, they maybe would they would have had a chance that year, the magical Fiesta Bowl year. You would have had a chance to prove it. So
Yep.
I can't say never say never, but in the history of college football, you had one year. But it doesn't change the fact that it sucks. And there are some people that did get kneecapped, but for the most part. For the majority of the teams going forward, this is going to be a good thing. Maybe some rocky roads, and we're gonna lose some people on the way, and some fans are gonna bitch and moan. But I think the product and the result is going to be better than we've ever had it, and I'm excited for it.